Hello, everyone. Welcome to Proficy 2025, our annual product launch webinar series. My name is Michelle Rosinski, and I'll be your host today. On today's webinar, we'll be talking about the latest enhancements coming to Proficy HMI SCADA in 2025. We'll be diving into the key updates in our service packs, including performance and robustness improvements for iFIX, enhanced event management and configuration capabilities in CIMPLICITY, and a new central licensing feature to simplify deployment and license management. The event today may include forward-looking statements. The information presented is intended to be an outline of general product direction, and it should not be relied on in making any purchasing decisions. Now for some housekeeping. You should all see an interface with some buttons at the bottom of your screen. They look like the ones on the right hand of the slide here. Please send any questions you have through the orange chat button. Through the purple envelope button, you can contact our team. The blue paperclip button is our most important, as it's where you'll find relevant content and resources related to today's webinar. Through the peach person icon, you can connect with today's speaker, our Senior Director of Product Management for Automation Software, Prasad. If you need technical assistance, reach out through the yellow question mark, but most issues can be solved by refreshing your browser. Last, please share your feedback. We have the pink checklist button where you can send us your challenges and initiatives. We're using this information to build our products collaboratively with your insight, so we really appreciate your feedback. Now I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Prasad. Prasad manages the direction and innovation for our flagship HMI SCADA software applications, iFIX and CIMPLICITY. Used by more than 20,000 companies around the world, with decades of experience in the automation industry, Prasad has served in a variety of roles, spanning product management, professional services, marketing, and strategic initiatives. As a well-known thought leader, he has worked directly with hundreds of companies across nearly every industrial segment, including food and beverage, automotive, pharmaceutical, water, wastewater, heavy equipment, and many more. So with that, I'll turn it over to Prasad.
So before I go into the SCADA update, I would like to just reiterate the value of Proficy. Proficy is our full suite of industry software and solutions that our customers use to drive outcomes in relation to quality, productivity, reliability, and sustainability. Proficy has helped customers solve their industrial challenges with plant to enterprise scale deployments, being able to effectively operate from anywhere, supporting the connected worker theory. We have solutions that help drive information insights from the data that comes out of their manufacturing plants, their operational facilities. And we have solutions that help customers monitor as well as analyze and optimize their sustainability goals through the solution. When we think about Proficy, there are four distinct kind of areas that our portfolio supports. One is obviously the automation part of it, which I'm going to talk about today, and it relates to operational technology and solutions that go at the operations, at the plant floor level, at the edge level of your operations. Then we have our manufacturing execution software that helps with optimizing your operations. We have our Historian product that supports your industrial data management, and then adding more AI ML capabilities, and I'll talk about some of these exciting capabilities within our automation portfolio as well. But that's the analytical software that helps you further optimize your operations as well. With that, I'm going to talk about the topic of today, which is giving you an update on HMI SCADA, both iFIX and CIMPLICITY, as it relates to our Proficy 2025 unified portfolio release. So just to clarify, both iFIX and CIMPLICITY will actually not be doing a 2025 release, but they would be having several software improvement modules that we will release that add capability to our 2024 releases. And it was a conscious decision done to enable some key capabilities that we are working on as part of a comprehensive release that you will start to see next year for both iFIX and Simplicity. Kind of going back into some of the focus of our 2024 release, and then looking at what we are working on from a capability standpoint that we would release both as software improvement modules and as part of the next release. There are four key themes that our SCADA products focused on. One was obviously furthering our vision on centralized management. And I'll talk about the exciting central license management that really improves experience of our customers in managing their system. Performance, scale, and reliability was a big focus, both for iFIX as well as Simplicity, as we will introduce some key capabilities that we have done. I mentioned AI ML and their part in SCADA, and we now have embedded an analytics as part of both the SCADA products as part of the 2024 license for iFIX as well as Simplicity. And then similar to central management, we have been working on bringing in native web visualization to both the products, and we are incrementally adding capabilities that I'll talk about as we go through the presentation here. So looking at central management, I'll kind of quickly go through the vision that we have around central management. So Config Hub or Configuration Hub, as a lot of you may know, and for folks who are new to Proficy, Configuration Hub is our central single configuration tool, which spans across the entire portfolio. So it is not just for the SCADA products, but it is a config tool that we use for Historian. It's a configuration tool we use for our MES products as well. And the vision of that configuration tool is that it should be one environment that lets you manage your entire solution that you deploy, whether it is a single SCADA solution that you deploy, or you deploy multiple components of our Proficy portfolio to solve an industrial challenge you may have. And as part of that central configuration hub, what we are incrementally adding from a capability standpoint is getting to a common data model, so it becomes a common context for all of our products. Being able to do project configuration and deployment through a central source. Configuration Hub has the capability of what we call as Proficy authentication that gives you a single sign-on security enabled for our entire portfolio. And as we have embedded in the past release, as we have embedded the Operations Hub Designer into Configuration Hub, that also becomes one place where you start to design your visualization that you would need for your OT application. And we, over the past, I would say 3 or 4 years, we have been incrementally adding capabilities that enhance the user experience and enhance the way you can manage your system that you are deploying. As part of our 2024 release and getting into 2025, we have added an important capability of being able to manage licenses centrally. So what this allows you to do now is, through Config Hub, you will have a view. So the license viewer that you were used to, which was a separate licensing client, you started to see what licenses you had. Config Hub will now actually look at your entire Proficy system that is deployed and start to show you what licenses are installed on what nodes, how many nodes do you have, how many licenses have you used, and how many can you deploy. So it's not only viewing, but it is also, if you want to deploy a license to a node, you would be able to do that as well. In addition to that, what we have been able to do, because of this knowledge that we now have of these different Proficy nodes running, especially SCADA nodes that are running, is that now we support central registration. So whenever a node comes up that has Proficy SCADA on it, it will actually get automatically discovered, and you can register that node into your system in Config Hub from a central location, versus having to go on each node uh, to register that particular node into Config Hub. Now, this really increases increases the effectiveness of your central management. It reduces the time to solve and how fast you can get some of these systems going, and it just brings a whole lot of ease in terms of how you manage your licenses, how you take stock of what licenses are being used where, and what you can do with the licenses. And just to give you a preview, this is kind of a view of what the license manager would look like. It'll start to show you how many tags are deployed, what version of iFIX is running on the system. Is it a client license, a SCADA license? So it just gives you all of the information that will then allow you to add a license or remove a license and then redistribute it somewhere else. So it just gives you a lot of flexibility now in terms of how you're going to manage your system licenses. So this is an important capability we added in addition to already capabilities in central management of defining a common model between your SCADA and historian, common security, the single sign-on that I mentioned, as well as project deployment, project capability. Any changes that you have done can be deployed centrally to various nodes as well. So again, going with the same theme of adding more and more and giving you more and more centralized control, making it easier for you to manage your deployment. So this kind of is an important feature that we have added as part of 2024, and as part of Config Hub 2025 that you can adopt, you will start to see this central management capability that is now useful with both iFIX as well as Simplicity. Coming to performance and scalability, last couple of releases of iFIX were specifically focused on going to the root cause of what we have been hearing from you, from our SI partners, from our channel partners around the challenges customer face with upgrading of iFIX. And I'm happy to say that we are at a stage where we can now claim that iFIX is even faster than some of the versions that you have deployed in your environment, or what you may have seen in the past with solutions like iFIX 5.5. And we have truly solved at the root cause level for any slowness that customers might have seen on the product. So the first thing that we catered to was looking at the alarm generation performance, and that was something that a lot of our customers that have um, larger size deployments, larger size databases, as well as a large number of clients. This was an issue that caused some reliability challenges with the whole system. We really have gone in and re-architected how iFIX distributes alarm, the size of the packet that goes across that, which makes it faster for the entire system to acknowledge saying, yes, we have received alarms. So this goes back to the fundamental iFIX tenet of making sure that the iFIX alarm integrity is consistent. All of the nodes receive the alarms, and they are not lost. And so this is a tremendous improvement in performance. We have seen customers who have adopted this see a drastic improvement in terms of how alarms are processed, how alarms work across their system, just the stability of the entire system because of this alarm performance benefit that they are getting. What we have also done is improved the workspace startup time improvement. So this was another pain point that customers had come back to us with in terms of the slowness that they were seeing. And we have increased the startup time, especially when customers have deployments with thin clients, or like web space or terminal services, and that has really improved, which goes to further enhancing the user experience as the UI kind of starts up very quickly for them to start operating. This is just a feel for the alarm performance improvement that we have done as we have benchmarked the performance of iFIX versus older versions of iFIX, where we had customers or we had customer cases around the slowness. And you can see that it's a tremendous amount of increase, especially the benefit is multifold as you have larger systems and you have alarm floods, or you see a whole bunch of alarms that may get generated because of any anomaly that is happening in your operation. And this is a tremendous boost to the way iFIX can scale, or iFIX can support complex applications in the field as well. So this is a big benefit that we've delivered as part of the release. The other thing we were getting feedback on was the fact that customers were saying that iFIX has slowed down, and this was causing a major churn in terms of either customers not upgrading from their versions of previous versions of iFIX, like 5.8 or 6.0, or there was just a resistance to go to newer versions because of what the system might do in terms of the slowness and be inoperable. And this was a major change that we have done, and we have actually released a sim now on iFIX 2024. It released first week of March, and that now has made iFIX the most performant ever that it was. And this is something which is timely, because as we get into some of the challenges that Microsoft has posed with the announcement of sunsetting of Windows 10, and as customers look to upgrade and go to newer operating systems, this is timely to encourage customers to say yes, they can upgrade and they can go to iFIX 2024 with this sim, where they would see they see their system performance be ever more reliable and ever more performant than that. So this is a big benefit from an iFIX customer standpoint. Coming to simplicity, a large part of the simplicity focus was also towards adding more scale and adding more reliability to the simplicity product. So one of the things that simplicity has done is the event management capability that simplicity has. They've multi-threaded that capability, so now you can have multiple event scripting that can run off of the simplicity server. But the most important feature that simplicity started implementing, release as part of 2024, and further enhancing is this capability called active update. Now, what active update allows customers to do is actually get into a mode where they can start to upgrade their system while the system is online. So they can, in a step-by-step procedure, they no longer have to take the system down to go through an upgrade. They can systematically go through an upgrade of a project, or even upgrade of a version of the product, and then still have the system running off their backup node or your secondary node as the system is getting upgraded. And this brings a huge benefit to customers who are afraid that every time they go through an upgrade, it's a significant amount of downtime, because they have to validate their systems. They have to make sure that the upgrade works, does not break anything. This capability actually allows you to go into test mode, validate that the upgrade works perfectly before you start to deploy the upgrade across your entire system, and just gives another level of reliability and trust in terms of doing this process. This will encourage customers to upgrade faster. This will encourage customers to be more compliant with the technology and with the versions that they have. And this is a major feature that Simplicity is implementing now. And at some point, once we have completed the active update, we'll migrate it over to iFIX to give a similar benefit to iFIX customers as well. But this is a major feature as part of Simplicity that you'll start to see it incrementally delivered through software improvement modules, and then eventually with the 2026 release, this will be fully released as part of that release of Simplicity. Coming to the embedded ML capability, and this was first introduced with the 2024 release. Every iFIX and Simplicity SCADA license includes a cSense runtime. Now, cSense is our analytical tool that has machine learning capabilities, and based on a lot of feedback in terms of our customers wanting to try analytics, wanting to experiment with analytics, this is a capability we decided to embed. And we not only just, it's not just a licensing play that we did where we just included cSense runtime for our customers to use, but to get customers started, we have added some pre-built models, and customers can use these models to get a feel for how a machine learning model works. And one of the models that we have included out of the box is an alarm pattern recognition model. And what this model actually does is, if you point it to your alarm history, which could be in a SQL database or it could be in your historian A&E server, it'll start to look at information and start to find patterns of alarm relations that it sees. So it can find out which alarm usually triggers other alarms, or which is an alarm that most frequently gets generated and causes disruption through other impacts of that alarm. And this is very helpful in terms of just monitoring how your alarm system behaves for a customer. And this is a very simple analytic, but it shows the power of what a machine learning model can do for customers as they deploy it at the edge and deploy it at the SCADA level. One of the other ones, which is a popular machine learning model, is to look at sensor health, even look at the data quality that is coming from the field, and see if that data quality, for some reason, is suffering, whether the sensor is bad, whether the connection to the sensor is bad, whether the calibration of the sensor is off. And this is another helpful feature, especially for customers who have distributed deployments, large water distribution systems or oil pipelines or even grid applications. This is a useful information for central control room operators as they start to see if the data that they're seeing from the field, is it reliable or not reliable. So this is another model that customers can use out of the box. The other one is a model predictive control model. Now, this will require a little more customization as this requires multiple inputs for the model predictive control to work. But this is an example here of chemical dosing in a water treatment plant. And what this model can start to do is start to point the optimum usage of chemical dosing based on external factors like seasons, or the temperature outside, or just the reaction time the chemical takes with the water to clean the water, and things like that. So this will require a little more knowledge of the process to add more inputs, but again, it's a pre-created model that can be modified. The whole idea of adding these pre-created models is so customers who don't have a process engineer on board, or customers who know the process but are not very savvy in terms of analytical programming, this gives them an out of the box way of trying some of these models. And there is, again, when it comes to analytics, there is no wrong model. It is just you start with a model and keep on enhancing it, and so customers can keep on enhancing it as they try out and see what results are being produced with this. So this is our attempt at getting our customers to get a feel for what machine learning looks like, and then kind of enhance it to start to get more out of the investment in our products, and optimize their operations as we go. Coming to the HTML5 visualization, now this is again a journey we started with our 2023 releases, when we introduced the HMI layouts in Operations Hub. And if customers remember, we kind of added a entirely new designer, which is now embedded within Configuration Hub, which, if you remember from my initial slide, is our central management tool. So it is one place where you can go and define your visualization, configure your security, configure your your SCADA database, your SCADA configuration. We added a designer that is more HMI centric, that lets you create HMI screens. And we have been incrementally adding capabilities to make it more and more HMI like. Now, at this point, a large part of our applications, or what we have seen customers use, is this tool being a complement to the traditional SCADA in the control room. But as we add more and more capabilities, it is slowly starting to drive value in becoming that native web HMI for a lot of our customers as well. And what we started with when we launched this first in 2023 was the ability to bring in SVG based graphics. So any existing iFIX or Simplicity graphic could be converted to SVG and brought it into the operations hub mode, and then used to animate it using iFIX or Simplicity data. What we have done over the past couple of releases now is added more libraries that you can use as part of creating your HMI. So more high performance HMI related libraries, more tools in terms of a modern alarm viewing grid that exists there. Just the way Operations Hub lets you interface with other data sources or lets you lay out your screens, it just produces a next level of visualization, just in a more efficient way of how an operator would like to see their system and operate. And what we have done to keep on enhancing the experience is features like distortion-free scalable screens. I mean, this is a feature that customers always seek, because you may today the deployment of HMI can be on a panel, it can be on a large 4K TV, it can be on a mobile device as well as for field operators. And the ask has always been that it should be the same application that runs on all three, and it should be distortion free. And so that is something that we have ensured that we have added as part of the native web visualization that we are providing. The other thing which is extremely popular, and this is something that no customer accepts without having this ability in the HMI, is being able to touch or click on an object and go into more details. And this is, with click zones now added into Operations Hub, that's something that we have added as a capability as well to give you that experience. The other thing that we have done is, again, drive context. So be able to drive context from an equipment into any of the other tiles that you may see in Operations Hub. So whether it's a trend or an alarm or any of these efficiency calculations or any alarm related information that you may want, again, taking click zones as a capability and being able to pass context now gives you a lot more capability to reuse a display and not have to create screens over and over again to have different views. And that is another capability that we have added as part of this. With 2025, now Operations Hub will have a 2025 release, and there is a webinar, and hopefully you will attend that as well, where we'll go into details of what 2025 delivers. But some of the things that will be useful with SCADA and HMI is the simplified data binding. So being able to directly reference a tag and attach it to different elements of the view is something that we have added, which further really improves the speed at which you can develop the application in Operations Hub. And that's something that we have added, and really to give you a lot more flexibility, added Python scripting. So now you can do, within a client, you can do calculations, you can join data, you can format data based on where you're receiving it from, and a whole bunch of operations that can be done on top of data, as well as issue certain commands based on clicks or events or time-based queries that you may want to execute. So it just gives you a lot more flexibility now, and an important capability for our web visualization to become an HMI as well. So that's what we are adding in 2025. What we also have now on the Operations Hub server side is really the ability to provide high availability on the server side, so that the web server can be highly available through Windows clustering now as part of the 2025 release. And that is again an important factor when it comes to deploying a SCADA solution and being able to have your clients be highly available as well, because that's the primary interface of your operators to operate your operation. So in general, that was kind of my update on what we are doing for the SCADA products. Again, as I mentioned, there is no formal iFIX or Simplicity 2025 release. There's a whole bunch of software improvement modules that we will release on top of iFIX or Simplicity 2024, again, related to performance, related to that active update feature that I talked about. Operations Hub 2025 will add a whole bunch of HMI capabilities that you can use. Again, a lot of it can be using Operations Hub as a complementary UI for users that are not primarily controlling your operations. So it can be an additional client that sits on top of your SCADA software. So those are capabilities that we are adding. Exciting time. There's more capabilities that we are working on as part of 2025 that will get released next year. But that's really the sum of the update that I wanted to give as part of this session in the SCADA update for your Proficy 2025 unified launch. So thank you.